Two very unlikely alliances have formed on today's battlefield. Hey, how's it going? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to another glorious online battle for Total War Medieval Kingdoms 1212 AD. Today we are back with another epic engagement. I mean, again, just look at the sheer scale of the enemy ranks. It is something to behold, that is indeed, as we do have over 23,000 men on the field, just 30 men short of 24,000 men, which is goddamn crazy. Also, guys, if you are enjoying these online battles, be sure to go ahead and drop a like and a comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. We go ahead and upload these battles basically every single day, so it's definitely worth subscribing. We are also getting ever closer to 120,000 subscribers, so it'd be absolutely amazing if we could hit that before the new year. If not, no worries, you know, I still appreciate you guys, but it'd be really cool if we could smash that target. That's kind of what I'm looking for. If we could just absolutely destroy the subscriber count, that would be amazing. But anyway, back to this battle. So yes, as I said, we do have two very unlikely alliances on either side of the battlefield. On this left hand side, we do have the electors of Trier. So one of the Holy Roman Empire electors have come down with a pretty mighty army. Someone said in one of my previous videos that I did with these guys that they actually live in modern day Trier and the village, and he said that the city will be extremely empty because there's not a lot of people who live there in the modern day. So it's kind of funny how, you know, this entire army of like 6,000-7,000 men is probably like the population of the town nowadays. Then over on this other side we have one of the cavalry factions. And this is really awesome to see these guys being brought, because I feel like a couple years ago when I used to play, the Eastern factions were extremely underwhelming. However, now they have a very strong roster, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing these guys in the campaign when it comes out, you know, or at least one of the Eastern factions, because I think they have a really interesting roster with a lot of heavy infantry, good bowmen, and, you know, obviously extremely heavy cavalry, which might be, you know, being outmatched by the Knights of Europe. However, again, that'll be something we'll be able to put to the test and see just how strong this cataphracts cavalry is. Then over on the other side, we'll take a look on the Trier's opponent first. We can see that Milan have brought a very strong army from the Italian peninsula, and they are raring for battle. On their front line, they have some of the militia spearmen. However, their elite soldiers are going to be these guys right here. They're heavily armored knights, which are ready to kick some ass, and obviously they also are going to be bringing some... Actually, no, wow, no crossbows? That's surprising to see an Italian state not bringing crossbows to a battle. Maybe they wanted to spice things up because Italians always bring Pavese crossbows to the field, and, you know, maybe they wanted to spend money on other things going up against one of the electors to see what they can do. And then finally, over on this left-hand side, we do have Nicaea with their heavy archers. So basically the Byzantines right here. And they're already shooting. Wow, that range on these heavy bowmen are absolutely crazy. That's a very long distance. And I'm sure the cavalry is going to need to get his archers into range to help out here and push these guys back. So yeah, you have a lot of these like heavy kite shield infantry. You know, a lot of like good standard infantry in Nicaea. And then they do have, I believe, a Vangian guard back here. Yeah, the Vangian guard. I mean, look at these guys. They are the creme de la creme of the elite medieval world right here. The elite bodyguards right here. And I believe at this point, these guys are the... like Norse variant. I believe you can also get one of the Saxon variant when they obviously start getting Saxons instead of... It is Saxons, right? I don't know. Correct me if I'm completely wrong in saying this. But they replace a lot of the like Norse Scandinavian troops with I believe Saxons, but maybe I'm making that up. Don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. But anyway, let's just get this battle kicked off and we'll see. Apparently, this battle has a lot of crazy cavalry engagements, so we'll be zooming around this battlefield. I can already tell it, just to see how all the cavalry does perform, because yeah, I was told that a lot of these thin lines which these guys like to play do get punished by heavy cavalry charges, and I'm sure we'll see it right here. Yeah, look at that charge. This is one of the problems of having such thin lines, is that cavalry can just run amok. Look at that damage on that infantry. This infantry lost 40-50 men just simply because they were too thin to withstand that cavalry charge, and the cavalry charge on Trier just was not fast fast enough to reinforce that. We get exactly the same over here. And what you've got to do against these players is either have your cavalry close to your front line to prevent this, or you need to go ahead and get thicker infantry lines, because you're just going to get punished. Luckily, the Calphite player did do a great job here. He had his cavalry ready to push in and take on the cavalry from Nicaea. However, and they're also going to be pushing onto the archers. This is a really nice move. However, the spearmen are also going to be coming in to protect that, and these guys are a little bit denser, but still, they're not like super dense, so cavalry can still smash through these spear formations. So that was a really, really nice cavalry charge on both sides of the field. I really like what the Calphite did. They managed to silence these guys. They're going to be coming in for another charge, but I think this infantry is a bit more prepared this time, because even in shield wall, they really, really struggled to repel that full-on frontal cavalry charge. And that's just, you know, being punished, because these lines are extremely thin. You either need like cavalry right there to help out, or you need to have thinner infantry lines. And what I don't see what players don't do in these battles is to prevent this from happening. I think a really, really good strategy would be is just to have thicker lines before the battle starts, and then as the infantry starts to close in and this kind of cavalry engagement has been sorted, then just make your lines extremely thin for the infantry engagement, because nothing's about a brutal charge as well. This one unit of infantry is being ganged up on right now. The Calphite is bringing in their own cavalry to, you know, at least take out, so they are trading horsemen, but you know, it's just brutal, these frontal charges. Over on the other side as well, we're getting exactly the same. The cavalry is just smashing these front lines of everything they've got. And it's very much back and forth. I think both sides are trading, you know, infantry and cavalry. So, you know, these battles are going to be very interesting after the fact, after this kind of cavalry skirmish has happened and the infantry lines clash. Because the thing is, you know, whoever's left with cavalry at the end is probably going to have a fairly big advantage. This one unit of infantry has just been bullied, but a gap has appeared. So yeah, as I was saying, like, I feel like you could just really have like a thin line, or a thick line, sorry, and then as the infantry lines get closer and closer, then spread them out really, really wide. I mean, I guess you do leave yourself vulnerable to other stuff, but even still, I think it would not be a bad strategy as the archer fire is going back and forth on the other side. And then, oh, a beautiful exploitation here by Milan, finding the perfect gap, and we'll get on board with these guys as they charge forward. What are they going to go for? A side charge on the archers? Oh, that is painful. A really, really good charge there, even though the back lines of the horses didn't really engage, but now they can come in and just cut these guys down. Again, more infantry is coming in, but it's just a split second too late by Trier. And the really good thing is, and this is another problem with having such a thin line, is the cavalry can just escape so easily. They don't get stuck in the infantry lines because they can just simply run forward. And now we go. The infantry for the Calphite is moving forward now, looking for blood. And again, he's going to be going in for a charge here. This is a spear wall, so it's going to be a little bit more, a little bit stronger and a little bit more dense. You can see a lot of the horses don't particularly go through, but they still actually do. These thin lines are just being smashed down, and I'm sure we'll see the meta evolving. These replays get sent to me, and I kind of get through them in mostly chronological order. So I imagine we'll start seeing in future battles players, you know, trying to find ways to counter this, which is again really exciting. But I get so many replays from the guys who send me in, from the guys who play all these battles. They kind of send me in just so many, which is really cool because you get to see them as players, you know, evolve and the meta evolve, which I think is just really, really exciting. So the lines have now clashed. The Byzantines have thrown forward their cavalry, their heavy infantry. There is also a unit of Nicaea cavalry back here as well. And they're going to be duking out. The wonderful thing, and I think a lot of the underrated things that people see when they see archers versus cavalry, is that in 12-12, the heavy archers aren't necessarily better bowmen. However, they just have a ton more armor, and they can basically double up as sword infantry. As you can see right here, these guys are just as heavily armored as most infantry, and they have huge shields as well. So what you end up seeing is you know, a big bulk of archers actually being involved in the melee engagement. And a melee engagement we have, I'm actually going to slow-mo it because I don't want to miss any of the engagements, as we do have, you know, several infantry coming up and another cavalry charge right here just smashing forward onto the archers of Trier. Yeah, a very, very brutal kind of skirmish phase in this battle. And we have a few infantrymen up here as well. And I imagine one of the reasons that we're not seeing the Calphite moving their soldiers around and hitting these guys in the back is that they don't want to just leave more and more gaps in the front line, so they're trying their best just to keep the line thick without any gaps. But I mean, a gap has also appeared, so it might be a good idea just to kill these guys and then come round. There is a huge engagement on the flank though as well, as we have a lot of spearmen charging in to their eastern foes. And both sides are kicking off. You can see a lot on the Mamluk side of things. You have a lot of maces and axes, whereas obviously they're fighting away against spearmen. So the spearmen will be able to keep the eastern soldiers at bay at a distance. However, if they can get up close and personal, I assume the Mamluks will just simply cut them down. I mean, these guys aren't the Mamluks yet, I don't believe, but I believe they transform into them in, you know, a couple hundred years or so. Yeah, the axes are going to be such a great weapon to use against spearmen. We also, though, have some of these halberdiers as well. So they can move in, or they're kind of more like a pike spear infantry. They can move in and do a lot of damage frontally. We also have some of the amazing heavy infantry as well. But I think this is like the Emperor's Guard right here. These guys are very, very well-trained infantry. And if they get thrown into combat, it's going to be a hard task for these guys to take them out. So again, the infantry line, we have a couple pockets of resistance. The infantry are slowly moving up in shield wall. But again, gaps could appear, and this could be exploited pretty heavily by Nicaea. But I think they're going to win this frontal engagement just because of there they've got a lot of heavy infantry. Over on the other side as well, we're getting more and more soldiers poured in as cavalrymen. Knights of Trier are going to get a side charge into the back of the Vangian Guard. And killing this unit is going to be so important as all the Vangian Guard just get thrown in right here, looking for blood. A lot more cavalry coming up to support them. And everyone, look for Vangian Guard, but it's just 3 stack of Vangian Guard. I believe that's as many as you can physically get. It's just simply 3 units, so these guys are going to be the cornerstone of the Byzantine defense. They're going to stick up here in the center, and this is where they make their mark with their heavy axemen, you know, extremely well-trained warriors. But if the Trier can get some cavalry around the back, that's going to be devastating. They're obviously not going to be a very good bracing unit. I mean, look at that battlefield as well. You guys know I am a sucker for battlefields. And yeah, we are going to be getting a rear charge off there by Trier. Very, very nice work. But yeah, you guys know I'm a sucker for battlefields. Just look at that. Like, just seeing stuff in the distance just makes me so happy. And the infantry columns moving into position. It's one of the reasons I love watching Napoleonic Total War replays, because you really get that feel of grand scale battles where you have regiments and, you know, battalions moving around the battlefield very, very efficiently. Just makes things so exciting. It really, really does. And, you know, these massive battles as well, like, it's just so good as well. But, like, I know I've got a pretty good computer, but it's really nice that they're just not laggy anymore. I'm not sure what it is. I imagine it's the optimization of 1212 that's just really stepped up over the past years. So they've made these unit models much more effective. And that's really refreshing to see. You know, Attila is renowned for its poor performance, but being able to see these big battles being played out is just absolutely amazing. So if we take a little glimpse of the... we'll go stick on slow-mo again really quickly and take a little glimpse of the overall battlefield so we can really get the feel of what's going down. So it does seem like that the Caliph has engaged the entire front line against the Byzantine, and it is a very back and forth. We can see even the Emperor himself charging in to support his Vangian Guard. The Milan have not quite engaged. There's a small kind of skirmish off in the front lines between Trier and Milan, but Milan's main weapon, which is these foot knights back here, are waiting to pounce. And I guess we're going to see, you know, Trier push forward, trying to maybe meet up and protect this. But if I was the Byzantines, I'd be very, very happy with how this engagement's going, because you managed to get 3 units of your Vangian Guard up against some pretty elite infantry, some mace infantry and stuff, but the Vangian Guard should prevail there bit by bit. And you also have the cavalry in as well, the Emperor doing his charges in and fighting away the enemy. You also, you know, as Milan, you're holding your own with some malicious spearmen. These guys aren't amazing, but they're still, you know, spearmen that will hold that front line and protect your heavy knights from coming in. I also believe, if I'm not mistaken, Trier have lost most of their missiles in this battle, which does give these foot knights the opportunity to move forward, whereas Milan still have 5 units of bowmen to pepper away, and I imagine they'll be focusing down these heavy knights from Trier, which don't have any shield protection whatsoever. So yeah, I'm sure we're going to be seeing 5 units of arrows being poured into these guys any second. Now in the center again, we still have that Byzantine guard block with more reinforcements coming in, but the Byzantine right part of that flank is actually kind of close to breaking, so we could see the Mamluks actually breaking through the side and enveloping the Byzantine guard, even though there are, you know, Milanian. Someone told me the word to use for Milan, but I've actually completely forgotten it. I'm not going to lie. I mean, classic Jackie Fish right there. Also, if we go down the battle line right here, we can see the Byzantines holding their own against the Mamluks. However, both sides really, you know, giving a push and pull. But it does look like the Byzantines are kind of winning this frontal line. Yeah, if you look at the number-wise and the HP bar, I mean, they're losing here, but everywhere else, the Byzantines have a strong line, that is for sure. And if they can maybe win on this flank, which again, it's looking very, very iffy if they will, but if they do, they can completely wrap up this side. Oh, nice. We do have some of the cataphracts moving in as well. Some pretty heavy Eastern horsemen duking it out against missiles and also spearmen. And as I said, like, these archers are not bad. You know, heavy archers are not bad to be using as an infantry force. Obviously, they're not as effective as, like, an infantry unit. However, they really are not bad at all. And I think there's definitely, for newer players, hard to get around. You always think that Total War is such a rock, paper, scissors. And it is. But in this case, if you pay for the more expensive archers, that's the role they're going to fulfill. As once they've expelled their ammunition, once they're, you know, once the battle has really devolved into just a complete on skirmish and every man counts, throwing your archers in is not a bad idea. Now, obviously, they're still going to not be good at bracing against cavalry charges and stuff, but they're still going to be doing okay. We can see as well, as I said, I believe this is the Emperor's Guard right here. They are surrounding this eastern unit right now, and they're going to break through and maybe come around the side, as we are getting just a huge engagement. Are we getting the Milan Knights moving up yet? Not quite. I mean, it does look like Trier are going to be pushing forward in their shield walls. I mean, look at that. If you were here ready, I mean, what you really want to do as well with these guys is you do want to charge them. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Milan charge off these heavy knights in. But it does look like the shield wall of Trier are just going to slowly move into combat and then start the fighting against the heavy foot knights of Milan. And it's going to be a hard fight for Trier, but maybe their plan is just to simply engage this battle line as more and more of their knights move up. Getting closer and closer to the Milanese? It's Milanese, yeah, that's what it is. The Milanese battle line. At least I believe it is. I think I'm right in saying that. There you go, more infantry smashing into the front line of Milan. This right flank, though, is there's a ton of gaps. If they can engage this spear infantry, they can easily get men around the side, or even cavalry. I'm not sure if there is any cavalry left. I mean, it does look like it's all the way over here, as we are getting one of Trier's cavalry, finding the perfect gap right there. That is an amazing movement right there. And they're going to get a rear charge here. They're forming up, and then rear charging into the back of these knights who really can't withstand this. This is going to be brutal, as they just go colliding in and collapsing this front line for Milan. Luckily, they have some spearmen here to hold back. That is going to be brutal. This number is just going to drop down extremely fast. Yeah, look at them kills. Oh my god, they lost like 40 men on that charge. And this cavalry is still not done. Charging in once again. Wow, the cavalry is just going to be doing so much damage. And that's going to cause a big morale break right here. These guys are wavering because of huge casualties they're taking. They need to try and rebuild up that push right there. Oh no, the Byzantine guard are completely surrounded now. That is not good. The Calphite's men are completely taking them down. And on the right flank, we can see big gaps. This battle has definitely devolved. Their center line has just opened up all this cavalry to come flying in. And as I said, we have the Byzantine general right here, the Emperor, trying his best to survive and just get out of this fight as he is engaging against some spearmen. He's taking a lot of missile fire as well. If I was the Mamluks, I would charge in this cavalry to try and silence the Emperor, because if you kill him, I'm sure they will just all rout. Besides the Byzantine guard, of course. But it seems like they are struggling extremely on either part of the battlefield, and it's going to be up to Milan to really be the killing machine that they're known to be. But again, these cavalry charges in the rear have just devastated their front lines. really taken down a large portion of their hard-hitting units, which they definitely rely on. We do have more of the Milanese men charging forward through the spear formation, but I just don't think it is enough. I believe we're probably going to be getting the Ducal's cavalry moving on this right-hand side, trying to find its way through one of these gaps. But look at that missile fire. There are so many archers just breaking up Trier's flank, and now would be the perfect time to charge forward. It does seem like Trier are moving in their reserves, though, for one final push against the Milanese. Yeah, they are throwing in their reserves. And this is also quite cool to see, like, players holding back reserves. And I think it is also an extremely valid tactic as well. Some people may argue that a lot of the time holding back reserves is just dumb because, you know, you could be using them then to break through in the enemy formation. But holding reserves allows you to address situations like this where big gaps do appear. You can throw men in a little bit later. So that's why I like these really dense battles. Vangian Guard here are no longer surrounded, but they are still just fighting, you know, hordes and hordes of enemies. And it's a hard fight indeed. We also have one of the general, we have a Mamluk general right here, which is like a hybrid missile cav, I think. I believe they're extremely good shock infantry cavalry as well. The right-hand side is broken. The Byzantines are done for. And maybe this is why the Byzantine Empire fell. Nicaea trying their best, but really, really struggling. Sorry if it's been confusing. I've been calling Nicaea by Byzantine. They are the Byzantines, basically. And I'm not doing I'm wrong about. There's a lot of questions in these episodes I raise in myself and my medieval history, but I'm sure you guys will let me know, and I appreciate you guys filling me in if I've got stuff wrong. And I'm obviously calling these guys the Mamluks. I assume they become the Mamluks, but that I'm a little bit less sure on. Another big cavalry charge. The cavalry have just been so instrumental in these battles. They really have. But it's the design of the battle. I don't think it's because the cavalry is OP. I think it's because of the way the players are playing. The players are playing with these extremely long lines, which allow the cavalry to be very, very effective. Now, what would be interesting to see is if the meta develops that these guys play, is one person, like one side goes really long, and to counter that, the other side go really dense and have like these thick lines. And they can obviously protect their flanks by committing men in their second and third and fourth line to address the flanks when it comes. So obviously they'll get enveloped, but having these dense lines will obviously, you know, prevent the enemy from using their cavalry as effectively as this, because, you know, the cavalry just won't be that great, and you can have your own cavalry on the flanks as well, doing what's been happening in this battle to the thin lines of the enemy. So it'll be interesting to see if much does change over the next couple battles you see on the channel. Again, what is not to love right there? Just looking into the distance, seeing all of these guys. This is so cool. Again, sorry, the battle is kind of drawing to a close, so we really need to catch up. So yeah, the Mamluks have just, look, they've got infantry blocks right here, just not doing anything. It looks like they're going to completely dominate this battlefield, and the fall of the Byzantines is going to be here, as again, the Vangian Guard completely surrounded, trying their strongest to hold off. However, I think the Emperor has gone down. The Emperor is dead. Oh no, he was slain by some of the elected men-at-arms. And I guess you could feasibly argue about these alliances in this battle. You know, the electors, you know, want to try and take down, you know, Byzantine control, so they've gone ahead and sent an army to support them. Milan don't want the Holy Roman Empire to get powerful, so they've gone ahead and supported the Byzantines, and they don't want, you know, the Eastern threat to come in and raid the wealth of Italy. So I guess it's not completely out of the realm of possibility, but yeah, I guess it is kind of, you know, the Italians did not quite like the Easterners much. But it would make sense, because I mean, Milan would obviously want to be duking out of a lot of the trade coming through like Alexandria and stuff. So they would definitely be looking to give more of the Mediterranean. Like, this would be like a fight for trade more than anything else between Milan and the Mamluks, or soon to be Mamluks. But it seems like they are going to be victorious. Trier are going to break. Actually, wait, what? Yeah, here we go. So, yeah, sorry. So Trier come in and finish off Milan. I was a little bit confused there. I don't know why. For a second, I thought that Milan was the other colour, but they weren't. So there we go. The Byzantines have fallen. Milan's reinforcement force has been broken down. And again, it'd be really cool to start seeing, you know, a couple more scenarios in these battles. If you guys want to see that, let them know in the comments down below. But it'd be cool to have like proper scenarios where you have maybe armies in different positions set up before the battle, and that kind of devolves, you know, instead of this like line on line battle, we have these, you know, corps set up, reinforcements coming in to, you know, supplement the lines, reserves being held. Maybe there's a hill and it's a 2v1 hill fight, but you have another army turning up 15-20 minutes later. Stuff like that would be really cool. Maybe even reenacting historical battles like the Battle of Agincourt and stuff would be amazing to set up, and just your other historical battles would be really cool. But just other scenarios as well would be awesome. You know, city defenses where you have a relief force on its way to the city, but it's only allowed to come a little bit later. I think stuff like that does spice things up, but these battles are amazing nonetheless. And there we go, yeah, 6,000 men basically on everything. The Byzantines ruined it with not bringing an extra 30 men. So overall, this battle was extremely interesting and cool. We take a look at the kills. We can see that the front line does have 151 men. These guys have 125 men. These 212. Lots of kills on them. And again, down here as well, we have 308 kills on the cavalry, which is not bad whatsoever. Over on the Caliphate side, we do also have a lot of kills on the heavy infantry, so that's pretty good. And again, the cavalry I didn't even see the cavalry over here. Yeah, the cavalry, 400 kills, pretty impressive. Over here as well, 400 kills. And the archers, these guys are amazing. I remember these guys from the old version. They're basically like infantry, but they just have a bow. They're more of an infantry than a bowman, I would say. They get 300 kills, and then they can deal some extremely large, some deadly damage in the front lines as well. Over on Nicaea, we can see that their infantry just did not do that great, and I believe the Vanguard Guard as well. Only 100 kills. Like, I would expect these guys and these guys to do a lot more than they did. You know, I'm not sure if this is just they need to be buffed or something, but the Vanguard Guard should be extremely strong, and same with these guys as well, because I believe you can only get 3 of these units. You're kind of capped out. You can't build an army of them. Then over on the other side, we do also have 500 kills on the Milan General with Ducal, and also the rest of the Milanese cavalry as well, getting a ton. And same with the Byzantine, the Emperor, 150 kills, not bad whatsoever. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, be sure to drop a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.